Everybody please stand. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to welcome everybody here today. We got a lot of people that's traveled in here today. Approval of the minutes. Thank you.
I looked it over, we got them on email, and I didn't see any corrections, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Same here, Mr. Chairman, second.
Motion been made by Mary, seconded by Steve. More discussion. All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, 3-0. Claims. County General, $175,198.91. Court System, $4,761.64. Highway Department, $122,706.85. Sheriff's Department, $29,306.18. ACH, $70,331.26. CAW-1, $119,376.30. CAW-2, $29,851.51. CAW-3ACH, $25,000 even. CAW-CP, $14,165.05. Thank you. ARC, 9920, $530,904.66. CARES Act, 9920, $13,595.59. CARES Act, 91420, $34,857.40. Ditch claim, $3,241.10. Spring excess funds, $925.20, $41.83. Wheel surplus, $930.20, $147,601.14. Ditch claims, 10/2/20, $5,002.94. Thank you. September payroll, September 25th, 2020 payroll, $343,868.71. Thank you. That's it. Payroll deductions, September 25th, 2020, $165,856.74. July check reissued, September 22nd, $19.68. And that's it.
Chairman, having reviewed claims, I make a move for a motion to accept claims.
Motion's been made by Steve,
Second.
seconded by Mary. No discussion. All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Highway Department.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Jeff.
Not a lot to report. It's the end of the year. Most of our major construction projects are done for the year. We do have one project ongoing on County Road 350 East at the intersection of Highway 64. We got pavement failure. Yesterday, we were able to excavate and get our subbase in and put temporary back, open it with rock. We plan on paving it for the permanent fix tomorrow. So that road will be closed again tomorrow, most of the day. Also, we have a new dump truck that we
Hang on,
purchased earlier,
Now that's at 64 and 350.
64 and 350 East, just south of the railroad tracks.
I got calls yesterday when they had to close. If you can call the radio.
I did.
You have,
I
okay,
had it
thank
on the
you.
radio, yes.
Okay.
Where was I? Okay, dump truck we purchased earlier in the year is nearing completion. We hope to take delivery of it by the end of the month, and it will be replacing the truck that's currently in Union Township. So that will make all our trucks in the fleet now 10-wheel dump trucks equipped with plows and everything for snow removal. Any questions?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Health Department.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have given you all our numbers. Do you have any questions related to any of those, or? No? Okay. Just to kind of bring the public up to date, so far, when I did the numbers last night, according to our numbers, we've had 624 COVID-19 cases in Gibson County. We had 256 of those in September alone, okay? 113 cases are still active, and we've had 9 deaths total now. To kind of give you an idea, we've had 50 new cases since the 1st of October. August had 120 cases, and July had 154 cases. So what you're seeing is from our numbers in August, we've doubled our number of positive cases. And that's part of the reason I've reached out to Jim and I've reached out to the board related to, we probably need to start putting some teeth into being on businesses to make them wear their masks. We have several businesses in the community that are not wearing masks, and when we go in and educate them, they still don't wear their masks. And so I just put a proposal to Jim, he's looking over it, related to, we can go in there and fine them, we'll warn them, and the second time we go in, we can start fining them. And then, obviously, if they continue to not follow the governor's mandate, then we may ask for a cease and desist order for their business. Now, obviously, we're gonna work with them as much as we can, but we need businesses to obey the mask order, because our cases in this area, it's not like the rest of the state where they're backed off. This area is going up substantially. So we need the public to get on board. I know everybody's tired of wearing a mask, but right now is not the time to quit wearing a mask. We're seeing more deaths, we're seeing more cases, and more complications related to those cases. So we urge the community to get their masks on and do their social distancing. If you do have an event, please encourage the people to stay 6 feet apart. These large events where people are not wearing masks is what's causing hot spots, or we're seeing big outbreaks from that area. We're working very closely with the schools, and if at all possible, we'll try to at least keep the hybrid where some of the kids, where we can keep them 6 feet apart while they're in the school. When I've worked with the superintendents, they feel like, that's the best thing for the kids, so that we have some in-room class for them. So we're working real hard to keep that going. Our server, I don't know if it's because we've been using our computer system so much, but our server went down for a good part of the week, last week, which was really a hardship for us at the health department. And so, Dan Parish itself stayed up most of the night one night to rebuild our server. We do have that IT grant, which will be coming. I have sent numerous messages to the State Department of Health. They're supposed to be getting back with me this week to see if we can expedite that funding. But we are to get some IT funding related to the COVID, outbreak from the state. So we're going to use that to get a new server. But the server we're using, Dan said it's put together with Band-Aids and it will fall apart. So, just to let you know, we may have to, request funds and then we can replace them. But we're not gonna be able to go on much longer with this server. And I have to have computer systems right now. So,
You probably need to be going to the council.
yes, I am. The other thing is, we should be taking over the testing site. We were supposed to take over October the 1st, but the funding didn't come down through the State Department of Health. So they kept the Austin site open for another month. And so I'm hoping to start interviewing next week. Again, I spoke with them a couple times this week. I'm waiting for that funding to be dropped before I interview people for the position. So, we will be taking over that testing site tentatively November the 1st, as long as our funding comes through. The other thing is I just want to, I know I will ask this to the council, but I just want to bring it up to you. We had a part-time position that we have not been utilizing due to the COVID and the health of the individual that was working. They have now have passed away, and so I'm going to look towards filling that position. It's a part-time position that was like clerical that helps you with vital records. However, I need assistance with billing, and I also need a backup for us nurses that can maybe screen some of these calls with the COVID. So I'd really like to hire somebody either like a CMA or something that could assist both areas. In doing so, I will not be able to get that quality of a person for $10 an hour. So I'm hoping that, I can propose to try to get that position at part-time for $15 an hour. And I'm just wanting to throw that out there for you all. I know it's not necessarily your decision, but I wanted you to be aware that I will be requesting that because we are down a part-time person at the health department. And as the vaccines become available, we're going to need all the staff if I can get it. So.
We want to move to, it's the council call, but still normally you ask. I would move to, we approve the additional hire for the health department that you requested.
Subject to council approval.
Of course, that's all subject to council approval.
I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made by Steve, seconded by Mary. Any more discussion? You've got money for this?
Yes, it was already in our budget.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0.
Two questions. My understanding it's very important for people to now do their flu shot. Is it available now at the health department, and who is available to get that at the health department?
Yes, we do have a limited supply available. I have ordered like normal, and so it's going out the door very fast this year. So I'm doing a flu clinic tonight until 8. We're doing it by appointment this time, but we probably will be out shortly. So I know that the high dose vaccine, a lot of the pharmacies have been out of that. And we are too. I have the few doses I have left spoken for. So I encourage people that need the high dose to, look around at the different pharmacies and get your name on the list because that is in high demand this year. And, but they are what we call the health department. We are doing appointments only for flu vaccines because obviously we don't want a bunch of people walking in at the same time.
Another question. Is it not the state that's mandating the mask? and giving the orders here. So why, if you need enforcement, would you not go to the state? You know, we really don't have a provision to take money. Do we have to set up a commissioner's court? You know, on and on. Why would you, again, you're working under state law?
The state
orders.
has
So,
put the enforcement to the local.
who has?
The state has.
Well, I'd say the state, again, their rule, what provisions do we have? Again, do we have, are we gonna have to set up
I would say
a
that,
court, what commissioner court here? I mean,
they had proposed that some of that money from the CARES Act could be utilized to enforce that, is what I've been told.
I have you had many complaints against very many businesses, or is it just like a handful of businesses that aren't abiding by that? I mean, the public is the public, they can't
Yeah.
manage that, but is it just?
I probably get 10 to 15 complaints a day called into the health department, and it's numerous businesses. And I understand it's not comfortable to wear a mask, especially if you're working in an area where it's hot and, you know, and if you're completely in a room by yourself, you know, you're only 6 feet apart, then, you know, that's not a big deal to take your mask off. But whenever you're around the public, especially when you're working in like fast food industry where you're right beside each other, you're constantly dealing with the public. Those areas are the ones that we're really wanting to enforce, because what's happening now is they almost laugh at us when we come in, because they know that we have no enforcement and all we can do is educate. And we have obviously educated everybody the best we can. And so at this time, if they refuse to do it, that's why we're asking to put some more to have the fines for the people that just blatantly will not obey the governor's order. And different counties, here's the one that, this is Vanderburgh. It's not necessarily an ordinance, it is a policy through the health department, but, I'm working with our board and our health officer, and I have several votes from the board to accept something similar to this, and that's the same one I sent to Mr. McDonald.
That maybe another 2 yes.
Okay, thank you.
But you can have that one.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering, because
Other counties.
not that I do a lot of shopping, but honestly,
Yes.
especially down. And, I've not run into it myself.
Yeah. I don't run into it a whole lot either, because a lot of people know who I am.
Here she comes.
But anyhow, we do get a lot of complaints related to that. And certain businesses are more negligent than others. And so obviously those would be the ones that we have to address. A lot of them, once you go and talk to them, they'll start wearing the mask and be more diligent to it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, I'm gonna go unless you know I have something else for me. I've got a conference call with the state here in a few minutes.
Thank you.
we might talk to the state about enforcing their rules.
I do that all the time.
I'm sure he's not the only one.
EMA,
He's there.
morning. A week and a half ago, we coordinated a meeting with the fire departments, fire chiefs here at the annex. We dispersed personal protection equipment that I've had in storage for about the last month. They were anxious to get that. We have more equipment coming. A lot of the departments utilized the PPE that was provided from the state, and they're like everybody else. They're having difficulty acquiring that through vendors. The other thing, we are continuing to work with the CARES Act funding and utilizing that for resources. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
EMS,
His report's not done, so he didn't come in.
Sheriff's Department,
given you copies of the financial information that you can look at. As far as the jail, population is going back up. We were up to 105 a couple of days. This morning's count was 99. And work release was probably around 15. I do have a couple of new vehicles over there that we ordered. We finally got those September. Now we're just waiting on the vendors to get some material to put them together. So we're just now waiting on everybody else to get parts and equipment.
Thank you. Park board,
There was a car show out there, off the Family Park, last weekend. It was very low attendance, but there was some, trying to keep something going out there. There was cars showed up. Like I said, there wasn't a major attendance, because of COVID, I'm guessing. But, as far as the grant goes, the plans have been submitted to DNR. It's been a while. They kicked them back once with some revisions. I've gone back to them again. So it's in their hands on the grant documents. So, that's all I have.
SWCD, thank you.
Hello, I'm the new employee with the Soil and Water Conservation District. My name is Melissa Heichelbeck, and we do not have anything else for the report.
Just wanted to introduce her to the commission.
Welcome.
Thank you. County engineer.
As Chuck said, most of our major projects are complete for the year. We do have some small structures, possibly a box culvert. I'm still trying to get through where we may do a box culvert, and then maybe a tank car project, the rest of the small culvert, stuff like that. We have started looking at next year's bridges, try to get, I believe, we do have one bridge for sure we're gonna take care of with Oakland City. And then the 2020 community crossings project is complete. Everything's been paid. I'm waiting on the clear checks so I can close that out. So I'll be able to close out 2020. They did come out with 2020-2, supposed to be in July. It's actually due, I believe, October 23rd. Gibson County is not eligible for the second round because we maxed out the $1 million maximum in the first round. So now I'm preparing for 2021. I'll have some stuff that has to be December 1st as the deadline to start getting stuff submitted for it. So community crossings, start on it again. So unless there's any really questions, we're preparing for next year.
Thank you. Treasurer's report,
I saw it.
all three of us have. And the clerk's report.
Oh, if I got it, I saw it.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember it now.
I did see it also.
Old Business County Engineer, United.
I'll introduce these guys. United Consulting is our selected bridge inspection consultant, or it's on a 4-year basis. They've been selected. This is phase 2, so it's 1A, 2. There's another year after this. But Chris and Jay are here to give some information on our bridge inspection for phase 2.
I do have a handout. Do you mind if I come up?
Yeah, come on up.
Hey, do you have it?
Now we have it. Yep, I got
Yeah.
this one.
Okay, great.
As Matt said, my name is Chris Andriesti. I'm project manager for Matt Consulting. First of all, I just want to thank all of you and Matt for the opportunity to work on this inventory. The inventory is very important. It's required by the federal government. Actually, it's 80%. You guys already know. You guys actually only 20% of the contract to get all the benefits of it. Some of those benefits include ensuring the safety of the public. The inspections allow us to monitor the condition of the structures as well as find any issues that just won't be seen by just driving over these bridges. The inspections also give us an opportunity to create maintenance lists for all the bridges when completed, help to extend the lifespan of all the structures. Actually, when I've finished with inspections in March and April, when your inspections are done, I actually also send a post-inspection maintenance list to Matt, which includes more of all the critical deficiencies and repairs that can be done to improve the life of those bridges and also just give you the best thing for your buck when it comes to spending money on maintenance. So this is actually one of your copies of your reports. I'm not going to go through all this, but I just want to let you know that there is a flash drive in here, and on that flash drive includes an interactive PDF version of this report, which is the nice thing about that is it can be used on almost any device, and it's really easy to navigate and find whatever information you're looking for. So that is in here. I will just like to go over the sheet that you guys got in front of you, which basically is a very brief summary of everything that's in there. Most importantly, note that Gibson County is in full compliance with all regulations. On the middle of the front of the sheets, you'll see a page reference to some of the more important tables in here if you're looking for some information. Those pages are noted to those tables there. Also on the front is part of the top 5 bridges on your replacement and rehabilitation list that we worked with Matt to put together. The full list can be seen on pages 7 and 8 of the report. On the backside, on the upper left area, you'll note that Gibson County has significantly more bridges than the average county in the state. I like to note that you guys are doing a great job at replacing and repairing and maintaining your bridges, that you guys are actually on par with the rest of the state when it comes to age and condition of your structures. And that's a lot of work done in the past.
In the years that I've been on the board, when I first came on, Gibson County's average age was around 60 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're down to 48.
Yeah.
And that's a heck of a difference.
Yeah. Replaced a lot in the past few years, but it's really.
Yeah, the average for the counties are 44, so we're gaining on it.
Mm-hmm. So I do want to point out that one of the new things for this cycle here was that there were a lot of new state and federal load rating requirement changes. So we load rated all of your bridges, and we worked with Matt to make sure that all your load postings have been updated or in compliance with these new requirements. And we've also been coordinating with John Howe to make sure the Gibson County GIS has been updated for these load posting changes, as well as get the new inventory reports for the individual bridges in the system. Another thing we did this year was we worked with Matt for the federal call to get Gibson 74 approved. He's now working on that. We'll begin working on that this year. So as Matt said, next year's last year for this contract, so we'll be working with him to give all the information he needs to put out for the next advertise the next contract. Some changes that you can expect for the next contract are that that's actually rewriting the bridge inspection manual right now. I think the most noteworthy change that we can expect is that they're changing the requirements for 12-month inspection bridges. We're actually lowering the requirement, so you should have less inspections that are done every year, which would be good for you guys. And then the other thing that will be included in the next contract are the send frequency, which are your newer bridges that you've been replacing, or your ones that are in good condition. Will only have to be inspected in phase 1. So overall, we're anticipating that you guys have less overall inspections in the next contract. That's all I have. Just want to thank you again for continuing to allow us to work with you on the inventories for the past 7 years now. And just like to see if you guys have any questions.
Thank you very much for coming down and reporting. Like I said, we're gaining on it, and, I think between you guys and Matt, we've done a heck of a job. Thank you.
Yep.
So for the public, you are inventorying the bridges and rating the bridges as to what needs to be replaced or repaired. Passing that information over to the engineer, county engineer, is that correct?
Yes.
So he has a list of priorities for the county and not only the county garage, but the county engineer to work on bridges as based on need, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you've been doing that for how many years?
I'm personally involved in the last 4 years, so all this cycle and then the end of the last contract as well.
And that's been going on for 7 years, is that correct?
Yes, we've had a nice one.
So you inspect the bridges according to the state,
Yes.
is that correct? State requirements
Mhm.
and federal money?
Yep, 80%.
80% is paid by federal money,
Yes.
and it's ending this year, is that correct?
Yes, well, the last year, the contract is next year. We'll
Next
have
year, okay.
2 ways, so your other 12-month inspections, last one will be next year.
So the county engineer has a list of bridges that we need to replace next year, is that correct?
Here's a list, and we have them sorted by priority, so choose based on the higher priority, ones more critical deficiencies and the older ones.
And Matt, you have a list of the bridges that need to be replaced by the county, the ongoing projects. You mentioned about the community crossing grants, and you're preparing the community crossing grants by the end of the year. Is that based on a road plan?
Yes, we do have road inventory. We do have, kind of like this, we do have a road inventory also.
Okay.
And it's, when the grant is submitted for the community crossing, you reference that road inventory. Talk about
Road
how
inventory or road plan?
there's actually a road inventory that shows what our actual ratings are, and we actually have a road plan also that is done by a program that Corps of Engineers provides for free.
Now, that's a 5-year or a 10-year?
5-year.
5-year plan.
So it's already in place, is that correct?
Correct.
And the bridge inspections and bridge replacement already in place, is that correct? And so the county garage can work with that plan as far as bridges and roads, is that correct?
That's correct.
On a 5-year plan, is that right?
That's correct.
Thank you.
I've got a question. We had talked about the 2 covered bridges. Is that under the state inspection anymore?
They are on the inventory. They are included in the inventory.
They're in the inventory, but since they're not open to the traveling public, the federal government won't reimburse for the inspection. They
Okay.
only do open bridges.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, we've got, Matt again on Bridge 74 replacement.
This is on the federal aid project that they just referenced. This is Bridge 74, which is the one directly parallel to the Wheeling Covered Bridge. So the bridge that was built to decommission the Wheeling Covered Bridge. This is for the preliminary engineering agreement. So we've already been through last meeting, had the contract with us at United to do the work. Now we go to the state and get an agreement with them. Basically, this is for the, Living federal aid project, it's 80% federal, 20% local. So this is the contract, based on the estimates, maximum federal funds. So this is on the federal side, this is how much money they will allow us, $260,000. It's 80% funded, preliminary engineering. Now, once we get done preliminary engineering, gets going, we'll come back again and have a right-of-way agreement with the state, and we'll come back again with construction agreement with the state. The way that the first parts of these project work is we will get the invoices, we pay the invoices, we submit for reimbursement. We'll do this for preliminary engineering, we'll do it right away. And when we go to construction, we'll actually turn around and we will give the state our 20% match, and then all invoices will go to the state. The reason for that is this is going to be a over probably $1.5 million bridge replacement. That's why we're going federal aid. That's 80% paid for by them. If they were to invoice us and then have to go for reimbursement, our fund for the year is not $1.5 million. So the smaller amounts, the preliminary engineering right away, that will be paid out of, paid for and reimbursed. Once we go to construction, we take our 20%, give it to the state, and then they deal with it. So this is preliminary engineering. It is the agreement with us and NDOT. Is what this is. So it has to be signed by the commissioners. It is a contract, and I've got it. And after the meeting, I can run it through. It's got to be in Blue League also. So I'm asking for approval of the contract with NDOT and Gibson County for the preliminary engineering on Bridge 74.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the Bridge 74 replacement agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion been made by Steve, second by Mary. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, 3-0. Okay, the next item is contract for administrative services over COVID-19 response program, phase 2. You got the contract? Have you seen it, Jim?
Yeah.
What is it?
From the Economic Development Coalition of Southwest Indiana to get the COVID grants as far as the,
I'll move to accept the contract for administrative services for the Oak Grove COVID-19 response program phase 2.
That's not.
Motion
Just
been made by
I'll second.
Steve, seconded by Mary. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Ice mirror agreement,
this is on the, continuing service by them on the jail project contract.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the Eisenhower agreement bond council contract.
motion been made by Steve,
I'll second.
seconded by Mary. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Agreement for I-69, State Road 64 sanitary sewer project.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you know, we have voted here and sent to redevelopment for the sanitary sewer project at I-69 and Indiana 64, working with the town of Francisco. And so thankfully that has moved along. It has been awarded. And so I would make a motion to sign these agreements and notice to proceed and contract agreements.
The motion's been made by Steve,
I'll second.
seconded by Mary. Any more discussion? All in favor of the contract? All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Jail Greenfield site.
Yes, as you know, we are involved in a federal lawsuit concerning the jail. It's in the the United States District Court, the Southern District of Indiana, Evansville Division. We're under a stipulated agreement with the court and with the ACLU as to timelines, and one of the timelines is coming up fairly quickly. It's October 13th. We must report to the court whether we're going with the Greenfield site or rehabbing the old jail site, and identifying funding sources for the construction of the jail. We have Rick Connor is on the line to answer any of your questions. I think you all been briefed on the Greenfield site versus the rehab of the existing site. I know you've been brought up to date as far as the operational costs on each one, whether it's greenfield or existing site. I know you've been advised as to the construction costs as well. So I have Rick Connor here on the line. If you have any questions for Rick to answer, as you know, Rick Connor works for Structure Point. He is the architect on the jail facility, and he's been working with us for quite some time, and also with the council. So, but not only do we have to have the commissioner's approval today to move forward, we will have to go to the county council next week as well. So I made that short and sweet, but
We have a
I have a resolution before you that we'd be presenting to the federal court saying that the commissioners would be selecting it, would agree to a new greenfield site and have the site open for operation on before January 2023, which is in accordance to the court order. It's not a made-up date. And they, commissioners would agree that funding for the new county jail would be paid for by a combination of cash, reserves, correctional facility tax, and edit funds. Rick, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think Jim's very clear. Is there's really
We're not hearing you, Rick.
You're not hearing me. Whoa.
Talk to us again, Rick.
How about now?
There you go.
There's really two issues here. One is the court wanted to know whether you're going to do a project, an expansion project of the existing jail, or whether you were going to go out and build a whole new jail on a different site. We studied both of those options.
You're muted, Rick. There you go.
It was very clear when we studied the three options that expansion of the existing jail was not feasible, not competitive with a greenfield option for two reasons. Number one, the site was so small that you ended up having to build vertically on multiple stories, and the cost of construction was actually more expensive than a greenfield site. The second reason was that because you built vertically, now you're trying to operate a jail that's on more than one story. It required more corrections officers to operate the jail properly. So it was more expensive to operate. So the expansion of the existing jail became not a very good option for two reasons. One was the construction cost, and the second was the operational cost. When you combine those two together, it becomes a pretty easy decision. The second decision is, how are you going to fund it? And I believe your financial consultant, Baker Tilly, has presented kind of three ways to fund it. One, of course, is the community or the correctional facility tax that you passed last year, and you have been collecting money on that already. The second source was a little bit of cash to cover the bonds, and then the third source was some amount of money out of your economic development income tax fund. All the court is asking is, how will you fund it? They're not asking how much or how big or anything like that. So I think that becomes a fairly easy question to answer, just more or less saying, here are the three sources that we will use to fund the project. The how big and all of that, that'll come down the road.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, again, upon a lot of consideration and study on this project, I move to accept resolution I move to accept the resolution as to supporting a greenfield site and paying for it with cash reserves, edit, economic development income tax funding, and the jail tax.
Okay, the motion's been made by Steve,
I'll second that, please.
seconded by Mary. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0.
I would just say that as far as next steps go, we'll be in front of the council on October 13th, basically asking them the same questions. And hopefully they will adopt a similar resolution. After that, Jim will be notifying the court and giving them the answers that they need. And then the very next step is to get this design going. One of the things that I really truly believe is to your benefit, if there is such a thing in this pandemic, to your benefit is that I believe construction prices next year, 2021 and 2022, will be to your advantage. I think there should be some competitiveness there that could work to your advantage. So there's really good reasons that if we want good construction prices, we got to get going on the design and get this thing bid as early in 2021 as we can, so that we can realize these good prices, number one, but number two, so that we can get something built and up out of the ground in 2021, so we can take advantage of the winter 2021-22. If we delay and perhaps construction doesn't start until, say, this time next year, then we won't be able to make the winter very productive. And if construction is not very productive, it just ends up costing more money. So I think there's lots of things we can do to make things more competitive and more cost effective for Gibson County, and getting going on the design is the very first one. So we will be back to you all very quickly with a contract for design, and then subsequently you'll end up having to go to the council for a funding request. And that's kind of the next steps in terms of laying out the breadcrumbs.
And Rick, can you tell them how long the design process takes?
Yeah, the design process is probably going to end up taking about 6 to 7 months. Then after that, you've got another 4 to 6 weeks, say, of bidding and getting your contractor under construction. And then, then we start moving dirt. Now, while the design is going on, Jim and I will be working on what's needed to select the site. The other thing we did in this pre-design effort was to evaluate 6 sites, if you include the downtown site as well. And that, just as soon as we get these votes out of the way here and get the court satisfied, that's job number one, is to get that ground under contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, new business, Whispering Hills subdivision.
My name is Mark Bailey. I'm here representing the Whispering Hills subdivision property owners. I'll be as quick as I can. I didn't realize I was going to be the spokesman until I got here this morning. So I won't take any more of your time than I have. As you probably have read the letter that we had sent requesting the county take over our road. That road was built 37 years ago. The letter notes the improvements that we've made and the care we've taken to the road. It has a good solid rock base. It's got a layer of millings on it, and for the most part it is paved. There are 50 people that live along that road, and a little over 40 vehicles registered into that area. We've had 2 new houses built in the last 3 years, and there are still empty lots out there, so we would expect there would be more houses people. We are on a school bus route, school bus comes up into there, and of course, delivery trucks and mail routes. There are currently 2 places for a school bus to turn around along that road. It depends on how far the school bus goes into the development. One of the school bus turns around was actually built by the county for us in probably, we're trying to remember, we think around 1992, somewhere in that area. The homeowners there, we're getting sort of a second wave of homeowners, but a lot of the homeowners now are getting to a point where our age, our health, we really can't maintain the road, especially with some of the newer families coming in, trying to keep it open for the school bus and a lot more delivery vehicles and that sort of thing. Some of us don't spend the winter in Indiana, so we're not there to help it. There's been a gentleman who has always been kind enough to kind of keep the road open. He had a tractor with the blade, and he'd keep the road open at the time of snow. His health has deteriorated to the point that he can't do that anymore. And it won't improve that he can't. We do have some funds in our road fund available, which after we had met any expenses with respect to what we would have to do for the county to take over the road, we'd send you the rest of the money, because we would obviously have no use. So I guess the main thing I want to say is we're coming here looking for help, because we're just at a point where we don't think we can properly maintain the road for the safety and for emergency vehicles and for the school buses to get back in there. It's a good solid road, and like I say, it's been there for 37 years, got a good rock face in it, so we think it's a good road, and we'd like you to take it over and help us out.
Does the road have a name?
Whispering Hills Road.
What's the easement?
The easement is, it's total of 50 feet, 25 feet on either side of the center line.
Which is our requirement now for a new road, of course, it's not new, I'm just saying, that's good that it is a 50-foot.
Yeah.
Easement.
Did you mention how long the road is?
Yeah, a little over 1,000 yards, 1,050
Yards or feet?
yards,
Okay. Really,
about 6/10 of a mile.
Okay, so
Matt, have you been out there? Okay, can you look at this road next week and get me a report back to me? Or call me and I'll go with you.
I'll give Mr. Bill, if you don't mind, if I can get your phone number, and that way if I have any questions, I can contact you. That's all right.
Mr. Chairman, I would remind that in East Gibson, due to the vacation of roads from mining, in the last 20 years, we've lost probably, or 30 years, probably at least 10 miles of roads. So we've only added one. So just throwing that out there that we have lost roads. Be good. And I have looked at the road, of course, I'll move to table to allow the county engineer or yourself to go inspect the road. It isn't good shape, but I'll move to table for that reason.
I'll second that, so we can have all the knowledge we can have. Make that decision.
Steve made a motion, Mary seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed, ayes have it, 3-0. We will look at it, and you're gonna get his phone number.
Right now. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. And I would also note that in the letter is Bill and Sharon's phone number. So if you can't get a hold of me, there's another person.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, our next item is White Church Crossing.
Mr. Greg Overstein's here to present that one.
I'm Greg Overstein, the developer of White Church Crossing, which is a 52 lot residential subdivision in Oak Township. The subdivision does include 2,500 lineal feet of streets designed and constructed to meet the requirements of Gibson County Ordinance 2011-5. We are requesting these newly constructed roads to be accepted into the Gibson County road system per Ordinance 2011-5.
Matt, have you been out there and looked at those?
Yeah, this was done, it was actually, I was out there on all the inspections, crew rolling, the installation of the roads. Currently, sections of this road are on the inventory, are maintained, like, Julie Drive, that was not added on to, we maintained it. Susan Drive, we maintained the first, probably 200 feet of it. It was connected onto, and then Jill Drive, we maintained all the way in there. So all the way, that's already on the road inventory. How many houses are built? This was just completed last.
It was completed September of 2019. There's 13 houses that are permanent.
13 new construction in the last year on this new development.
And we would expect several more by the end of the year to be started as well.
Question, Mr. Chairman. Whenever we voted to allocate taxpayer dollars TIF funding for this project, it was discussed that I know the city put in funding for sewer and water. There was talk of annexation at that time. Has there been any further movement on that?
I have spoken to them about that. In the deed, is that correct? It is in there that the landowners cannot remonstrate on annexation. So it's put in there, so if the city did want to annex, it's already set up. I brought it up to the city when they were talking about Second Avenue at the same time, and they never moved on any of it. So I don't know that they're not really wanting to this time, what the situation is.
Of course, if that happened, that would make this request move.
Yes.
But if you don't see that happening, well, I mean,
Right.
I would move that we do the same thing for, well,
Well, I have, like you said, I've seen this one, I haven't seen this one yet. And, I have gone over it with Matt, and it looks really good, and it's, of course, it's Jill Drive, and it goes into whatever the other is. It connects the two different county roads. But I agree to, table this to the next time so that you two have an opportunity to look and see and talk to Matt about it.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Matt, if you will, call me and I'll go with you and we'll look at it. Okay, motion made by Steve and, seconded by Mary to table. All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. And, we'll look at it as quickly as possible and try to come up with what we got.
Would it likely be on the next meeting or what would you expect?
I'd say next meeting.
Thank
Is
you.
that okay?
Yeah, and I mean, as long as Matt, get things done, has time to get things done.
And that would be,
Check with Matt.
Yeah, check with Matt Hill every day.
Are those, question, Mr. Postman?
Hey, Greg?
Who owns those? I mean, is normally in the county, the landowner owns the middle of the road. Is that the case here?
In this case, it was platted with a 50-foot right of way, so the lots are up to the road. The county actually has the right of way now as it's platted. It's already been platted with a 50-foot right of way.
So that the county is currently in possession of that.
It has been dedicated as a right of way.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I understand, but so is our other roads, but the owner owns to the middle of the road.
In this case, with the way it's platted, the owners do not own.
Okay.
They own 25 foot.
Because that, in that case, where you get into if one person doesn't, okay.
It's already been platted. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Duke Energy.
Yeah. Right. Gonna let me go? You can put the map up, please. Yeah, I'm Brad Graves, I'm the project manager for Duke Energy Gibson Station. We're requesting authorization to close County Road at the station for this fall and next year to support projects that we're performing on site. Use large vehicles, all borrow from our borrow pits, project sites. I'll read through this presentation. You have a copy of this. Sections of the road will be closed. County Road 950W for the four-way stop at Coal Hall Road, just south of State Road 64. Want to get that? Let's get that back up. The second page of this handout's got the location in the county marked on it. Yeah, there's the right up. Yeah, there you go. So that little red box, you can see our cooling lake. Is the general area of the road closure. And we had a meeting last week and we begun the notifications to the paper. So the Clarion got it started next Thursday in the south, the south paper calls it car. It started today. We'll have their first one today. Okay, and at any rate, we're requesting the close these roads during the day, 5 days a week from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then we'll open it up in the evenings and on weekends. Duration right now is planning to be from the 12th through the 20th of November, October 12th to the 20th of November this year, and then next year as early as March 22nd through as late as December 10th of 2021. But we really look at that just to be two durations, one of about 9 weeks and one of about 24 weeks. But it won't be closed full.
We met last week and we made arrangements. We have tour buses that comes in and use the Eagle. And on the road down there, and them, we've worked with them before, and they will open the road back up to get the tour bus food. So,
And the farm.
and the farming. Because a lot of that has been eliminated down there, but there is still a couple farms.
Yeah.
So those details, they work good with us on the previous, and they'll do the same here. So I recommend it.
During the duration of the project, Duke will maintain the gravel portions of the road.
Yes, we maintain the road.
Bond.
Doing some maintenance on it now.
In continuation with the bond, this is already bond.
Yeah. We also have to maintain traffic barricades, on a daily basis. And that's on that last page.
Mr. Chairman.
So there's
Yeah, it will be.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, one recommendation, in agreement with the county highway department, all over the county engineer, I make a motion that we allow this, road closure, temporary road closure, with the stipulations that's been agreed upon by, Duke.
Motion's been made by Steve, seconded by Mary. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion, indicate saying aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Thank you. Workers' compensation renewal. How you doing?
I will refer you to page 3, start of document there, vote. So, very good news today, much like I did last time I did, which is always coming through today's marketplace. Been a while to use work insurance, a lot of rate fluctuation, mostly upward. But the your credit on work, we were to look at a 3-year window, 2018 to 19, your work comp rate was at 167,000. 19 to 20, it dropped to 146. Happy to tell you that this year your comp rate was going down to 130, 797. So it's down $37,000 over the course of 2 years. What you see there on page 3 is the county payroll allocation by class code. So those payrolls have been verified by your internal team as well as when they come at the end of the term, they do your audit. So that total calculation of payroll for the county sums up to $8,229,253. So work comp obviously is payroll driven. If you look at the very next page, it'll reflect the number I just gave you. For the total annualized premium to work is county 137.97. At the top there, you'll note a number, both in black and green, that's 0.79. So what does that reflect to you? So that's your expense modification rating for the county. I would tell you, by comparison to your peers, you guys are doing very well and outperforming your peers at a high level. The 0.79 is a number that's calculated based on claims. The 3-year claim window, they go back 4 years. So if you go back to 2016, and you look at your policy terms, 16 to 17, 17 to 18, 18 to 19. All claims that occurred in that 3-year window impact that 0.79 line. 0.79 just means you're getting a 21-point credit off the manual rate that the state would otherwise charge for workers' comp. The good news for you is this: you had another banner year in claims in terms of nominal to no claims. So next year, based on mod projections that we've seen, your mod likely will go from 0.79 down to 0.62. So you will see another 17-point drop. And again, that's barring anything between now and the end of the month, because your renewal is November 1st. So again, you'd be applauded for that from a management standpoint, in terms of overseeing your departments. Because I would say that in most municipalities that we deal with, that mod is often in excess of 1. So instead of getting a credit, a credited point, they're getting debit charges. So again, that's a testament to leadership, county commissioners, department heads, et cetera. So again, great news. You're down a lot of dollars. You got a lot to be happy about in that arena. So again, this is Travelers, same carrier. We've got your property liability, commercial auto, going for legal, public officials, same carrier, high quality carrier, obviously, and very cost effective. Questions?
I want to compliment our workers who evidently are working safely, doing the job without getting hurt. And so I'll move to accept this agreement, this contract for workers' comp insurance.
Perfect. Motion been made by Steve,
I'll second.
seconded by Mary. Any more discussion?
What's the cost?
$130,797. Again, it's based on 8.229 million.
All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so be it.
Mr. Chairman, while we have Mr. Hancock here, we have requested him to work on a estimate for better insurance for the courthouse monuments. And so I know there was a cost mentioned there, but I'm hoping that we can either get that done without an additional cost, or at least no more than share that cost. So where are we at on that?
Yes, what we're seeking there, Steve, is a shared cost, ideally between ONI, Travelers, and the county. Your total cost, and I can email you this report. This is a third-party firm that does third-party valuations of properties. And so when we're looking at that, we consider the valuation of the courthouse. We all know if something happened to that courthouse from a capacity standpoint, it would be nearly impossible to rebuild it to the format it's in from an architectural standpoint. With that said, there are companies out there that can do that. And so this company here, again, it's called CBiz. They can come out and at a base fee, they can look at the courthouse as well as your monuments The one monument at the southeast corner of Courthouse Square, and the other one at the southwest corner. They can look at the courthouse and the two monuments for a base fee of $3,500, which would be their evaluation. There'd be an additional $1,200 charge to them to actually produce the reports, come back to you for reflection of what the actual replacement of those items would be. I would tell you, in this cost, the one monument, Steve and I talked about this, I think has already been increased. One of those we may take one of those off. But if you look at it, $4,700 a year. The good news for you is, as noted prior, you've seen work comp reductions, so it'll help offset some of that cost. But if we could do a shared cost model, which is what I'm trying to negotiate with travelers, that's something I'd like to bring back to you. I think the key there is, I'll email you this. The first point I know would be, would you want to proceed? I think the consensus has been yes, to have the courthouse in particular evaluated along with the monuments to confirm insurance of that.
Yeah, I understand this will be an extensive look at the courthouse to
Correct.
really give us what it's worth. And of course, even if we didn't have a total catastrophe, just a, any kind of damage to, the great icon of the county would be very expensive. So we want to be covered. We kind of dealt with this before. And, but I'm definitely 100%. It also means that it is on the Indiana Historical Register. We believe that that would be another reason for that to be done, to make sure it could be taken care of. So
from a historical perspective, remember how that's viewed as a building being on the registry, as an example of the old McCurdy Hotel in downtown Evansville. We insure that structure. We recently did that last year, and so we got in this dialogue with whatever governing power oversees that for the state of Indiana, and they were relatively crystal clear on how the expectation was for you to insure a building that's on the historic register. There's certain stipulations I think they would mandate that. Obviously, I know that falls back into your lap. So again, I'll get you a copy of this report via email. Let me know how you want to proceed from just the acceptance of that, and then we'll talk about shared cost policy.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, the Owensville, Montgomery Fire Territory. Had one member that has resigned from the board. So they are wanting to replace the gentleman with a James Robertson. That's ROBINSON. And I'll make the motion that we replace the person with James Robertson. That is the Montgomery. It's the Owensville Montgomery Township Fire Protection District.
second.
Motion.
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, motion was made by myself
That's right.
and Mary seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion and the favor saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. We had a gentleman, Danny Bailey, that passed away in the county. He retired, and shortly after he's passed away from an illness. And I would like to take a few moments here of silence to respect Danny Bailey. Thank you, and Danny served many years. I'm not familiar how many years, but it's several. Chuck?
I want to say 42, either 42 or 44.
That's a long time. And thank you. Anybody have anything else?
I'll move to adjourn.
Motion's been made by Steve, seconded by Mary, all in favor.
Aye.
Here we go. Want to thank everybody for coming to the meeting. Shortly we'll have the bid for the